very warm welcome to all the participants and the speaker. The topic for today is very close to my heart, and I'm very excited to be interacting with Seetha Garu, who works as a therapist with a very holistic perspective on health and well-being. And I've been referring to her amazing book for many, many years now, and we still refer to it for recipes. I think we're going to make pumpkin soup today from your book. So it's great to meet the author of the book that I've been referring to for so many years. The pandemic has taught us all that personal hygiene, wearing masks, social distancing, these are all very important, but there is more that we need to do. We can't simply outsource all of our health issues to an external agency or an expert or a vaccine or a tablet. We need to take proactive steps to understand and improve our current state of well-being, which includes our physical health, our mental health, as well as our emotional health, which in turn will boost our immunity. In Ayurveda, immunity is termed as Vyadhi Shamatvam and is defined as our capacity to resist a disease, our capacity to tolerate a disease, and our capacity to overcome or fight a disease. So Seetha Garu, how would you explain the immune system? Could you elaborate more? And also, what are the basic requirements for a healthy, strong immune system?
Yeah, thank you. And first of all, a very good, a very big thanks to WishwaTalks and to Roshni for hosting this and for doing all the good work that you do. And thank you, Harshita. Happy to be part of this program. And this pandemic especially has brought forth the importance of the immune system. And the immune system is not something that can be built overnight. So when you see posts like, take this herb, include this tulsi, include this, and then, it'll improve. This is something that happens over a period of time. And it happens in a holistic manner through a few things, like when you asked what are the prerequisites for immune system, it depends on your diet, your lifestyle, also the environment you live in, and very importantly, your mental and emotional status. We will see in the course of today's talk how important it is to be happy, to be calm, and to be stress-free if we need a very healthy immune system. Now, what is immune system? It's like she said in Sanskrit, it is the ability of the body to protect itself, to fight vyadhi or disease, to fight any alien attack on the body. The body's own intelligence, the body's own defense mechanism is called the immune system in very simple layman's terms. Now, where is this located? This picture, if those of you who have a touch screen can zoom in if it's not visible. But these are all the organs where, the tonsils, the spleen, the appendix, all the lymph nodes where they are located. In all those areas, there is an abundance of these cells that are there to protect our body. Now, the reason I put this picture is very often modern medicine, it tends to remove a part at this, at the drop of a hat. We have some problem with the tonsils, just remove it. You have a problem with appendix, just remove it. A problem with gallbladder. So while mentioning this, I must mention that very grateful to modern medicine because it's life-saving. And God forbid, but if there is an accident, we would rush to an allopath and not to a homeopath or to a naturopath because it is allopathy that is truly life-saving. But that is only in case of emergencies. For sustained health and for sustained immunity building, we should abstain from strong medication and from chemicals. So as far as possible, we try to retain all the parts of the human body, because it's not just there for by chance. It's there for a purpose, and all these organs need to be protected. They need to be nourished and uh, kept inside our body and not just discarded, for the simplest of reasons. So that is something very important about the organs in the body. The other thing is, we need to keep these organs thriving in a chemical free alkaline environment. This is also equally important. I'll just go to the next slide. Yes, so the prerequisites, the good diet. This is actually so crucial, and you'll be surprised that more than half of the immune cells, they actually rest in the bowels and in the appendix. So you can imagine how important it is to focus on a good diet. When I say good diet, it means having an alkaline diet, predominantly alkaline diet, which is got from raw vegetables and raw fruits. And of course, exercise is extremely important. And in exercise, we have Harshita here, who's a yoga therapist, and she can also speak more about it. And having a toxin-free body where the probiotics, the good bacteria can thrive, that's also a very important prerequisite for immunity. Harshita, can you actually speak a little more about the role of yoga in building immunity?
Sure. So in yoga, the first thing we teach a student is how to breathe correctly, how to breathe well, primarily how to exhale completely and deeply. So if you have a bucket filled with dirty water, you need to first empty it, throw out the dirty water before you can fill it with clean water. So it's the same with our breath. There is stale air that is trapped in our lungs that needs to be expelled out. Especially in respiratory conditions, the air gets trapped in the lower lobes of the lungs and needs to be thrown out. So we teach the student how to exhale well, and that in turn actually facilitates the ventilation of the lungs, a deep inhale. So it's a lot of times I'll see students take a deep breath, engaging their nostrils, neck, and shoulders. But in yogic breathing, which is also diaphragmatic breathing, we engage the lower abdomen when we exhale. So when we exhale, we gently draw in the lower abdomen, relaxing the chest. And then when we inhale, we engage the spine, visualizing our lungs filling with air. And this is really the crux of a yoga practice. So the essence of a yoga practice, the foundation of a yoga practice has how to breathe well, how to exhale completely, which will facilitate a good inhale. And this very simple technique of breathing well, breathing correctly will not only improve our respiratory system, it'll improve our digestion, it'll improve our metabolism, it improves our energy levels, it improves our sleep, it improves the health of the internal organs, it improves the blood circulation, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, so it reduces stress and anxiety. Just as one simple tool of breathing well, which we call popularly known as pranayama. Also, when we are focused on the breath, we are completely rooted in the present moment. We can't be regretting the past. We can't be worried about the future. We are completely centered and grounded in the present moment. That's what we all need today. And once with diaphragmatic breathing, once the prana in the body is replenished, it automatically has an effect on the quality of our thoughts. So it's a simple but very powerful technique that can improve our physical well-being, our mental well-being, also our emotional well-being. And these are the three components we need to boost immunity. So that's the yogic perspective of immunity, is learning to breathe well to begin with.
Thank you so much. That was so well said. So again, coming to this toxicity in the body. A lot of times you must have heard about lymphatic drainage in order to lose weight, in order to get the body working, metabolism working properly. So when the lymph nodes are all clogged, blocked, there is excessive toxicity in the body. And that is one of the main reasons for a weak immune system. So that is something that I wanted to reiterate, and that is why diet is so important. The need to eat clean, to eat a diet that would detoxify you, and also only then can we get the nutrients that are required for various other functions of the body as well. Now, I just wanted to share one of my experiences while working in a pediatric hospital, and I was working in the capacity of a counselor in a pediatric hospital, and we truly practiced what was social and preventive medicine. Very often, we go to the hospital only when there is a problem, and then it's like curing. We're always focusing on, solving a problem, so we don't go into the root cause and prevent something. Prevention is always better than cure. And so we were focusing in the hospital on how to prevent diseases, and we focused a lot on diet and also on the emotional and mental states of children. You'll be surprised that school education can be very stressful to children, and hence make them prone to more and more sickness. This is true even for adults. When we are emotionally stressed, our immune systems, it starts faltering. She mentioned about the parasympathetic nerves. Now, the central nervous system, we have the ida and the pingala, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Now, the sympathetic nervous system will makes us, into this fight or flight mode, where either, we have to escape something, and which is very much required. When you see danger, you should have the capacity to run. And also when you are frightened, you see a lot of bodily changes happening. You have shivering of your legs or increase in heart rate. There's a change in your breath. So whereas the parasympathetic nervous system, it deals with all the involuntary, like your heart rate, your a whole lot of your digestion and all that is taken care of. Now, when there is more and more stress, when there's too many incidents of this fright and flight mode, when that is how your body is in red alert all the time, then it affects the functioning of the entire body, including all the organs. And one of the most affected part is your immune system, your gut. We all are aware that, you say things like my stomach is churning, or I even in Indian language, in all the languages, we have these terms to do with the stomach when we speak about fear and anxiety, stress. So this is something that physically affects us, the emotions that physically that affect our body, and we need to be aware and do things that will help us tide over such fright or flight modes in the body. So yoga is a wonderful, wonderful way to do this. The breathing especially will calm us down automatically. If this was a physical workshop, when we are face to face, we could have easily done some activities to even show you. But I'm sure this is quite evident. It is quite evident to everybody that when you calm your breath, a lot of things in the body settle down. So when it comes to mental health, we have certain biochemical reactions that happen when you are emotionally charged. Likewise, when you're calm, that is when the melatonin production, serotonin production, they're all in balance. So melatonin and serotonin is called the happiness hormone, and melatonin is in charge of your sleep. Now, these two are very related. And when there is a disruption in this, then gut health is affected. And so also a whole lot of other functions of the body. And definitely the immune system becomes weak. So you'd be surprised to note that even a good timetable in a day, when I say timetable, a routine that you have in a day, is also very important for immunity building. So doing things at a time, it's not just 8 hours of sleep, but 8 hours at the proper time during the night time. Sleep during the night time is also a way to build your immune system. So we can have the next slide, please. Madhavi, can we have the next slide, please? Yeah. Um, so we were speaking about physical aspects. We spoke about the diet, we spoke about the need for exercise and the need to be calm. Um, one more perspective about immunity is how immune are we to negativity from outside? We are all living in a very stressful time, especially now during the pandemic. Jobs are sparse, income is reduced. There's a lot of time with children, and children are actually bored sitting at home. They're not living a normal life. So all this put together is creating a lot of stress on everyone from every walk of life. Be it the working class, the elite, everyone is stressed. Now, we can't do much about the environment. We surely can't do much about the pandemic. Even the vaccines, there are so many controversies about how effective it is, and there are more and more streams coming. But one thing we can surely do is to work on our bodies. To work on our immunity in different levels. So we already understood that working on the emotional and mental perspective is as important as your diet and your exercise. Now, one of the things that we need to bear in mind is when I give a lot of importance to my environment, when I give a lot of importance to what others are saying, what others are thinking, then I'm making myself very vulnerable, open, and weak. So that is one way in which we let things enter us. Suppose you can all see my hand. Suppose this is my body. So if I need to keep my body firm, then I need to be like this. But if I keep it open, then I'm making a lot of gateways for attack from outside. Right? Can you relate to what I'm saying? So we need to close our weak areas, and we need to fortify our body, if I may so speak. We need to guard ourselves. So for that, I need to learn to look inward and to stay strong with what is inside me. This is perhaps sounding a little esoteric or a little spiritual, but in very simple terms, when I let myself um, constantly be attacked by opinions, by criticism, then it is going to make me weaker and weaker in every way, weaker mentally, emotionally, and in that process, physically as well. So this is something that we all need to be aware of, and take charge of doing something that will protect us. And for me, what is the first step towards doing this is to first be aware. First, be aware of where your weaknesses lie, where your strengths lie. And we work on our weaknesses. We don't feel bad about our weaknesses. Awareness, knowledge is strength. Knowledge is power. So first step towards any change is awareness. To be aware that, yes, I am letting somebody take over me. I'm letting opinions affect me. Opinions are important. We need to listen to opinions and then to proceed to make change, not to get bogged down by it and not to get depressed, but to work on ourselves. So it's very important aspect of immunity. In a way, we need to be immune to negativity, negative feelings, negative criticism. We take in constructive criticism, or we take criticism, make it our own, and then we construct from that. Instead of making it break us, we use it to build us, and eventually that will also lead to a better immune system. Yeah, next slide, please. Yes. So I also, before we move on to this, Harshita, could you also speak about how yoga views this whole aspect of, environment, what the environment does and how we can protect ourselves, and in what way our daily life practices, how we can, Can you please throw some light on that, Harshita?
Sure. Thank you, Seetha Garu. You brought out some very points on with constipation or their stomach is burning or there's phlegm in the throat. The first thing we examine is the diet. It becomes very, very important. So thank you for bringing out that point. But also food is only food. We eat to live and not live to eat. And food is one of the ways we interact with the world. But our reverence for food shouldn't turn into this obsession such that other important aspects of our life get diminished. So a lot of times when someone is in a bad relationship or stuck in a job that they dislike, they start to overindulge in sweets, or they start to having a lot of unhealthy snacks. And all of that is just a symptom of what's missing in their life. There is something deeper that we need to look at. So managing a diet is less intimidating. Having the courage to face a relationship that needs to be resolved, or a job that they need to go and apply for, is more intimidating. And so sometimes it's just hidden and tucked away, and we just focus on smaller things that we can do, which are essential. And I think that's where Roshni Trust and all the counselors and psychiatrists, psychologists, Roshni Trust have been helping people, is to identify these deeper patterns, habits that need to be addressed at the mental and the emotional level. And in yoga also, it's called Shodhanam, looking at these deeper patterns. So thank you for bringing out these very valid, relevant points. And in yoga, the mind is compared to a river, Chitta Nadi. So it can flow in two directions. One is Vyuttana Samskara, which is negativity. Our vision is clouded, we can't think clearly. And the other is Nirodha Samskara, where there's positivity and clarity. So Sage Patanjali, in one of the Yoga Sutras, very beautifully is saying in Sutra 1.31, he says, Dukkha dormanasya angamejayatva shwasa prashwasa vikshepa saha bhuvaha. So dukkha is sorrow, pain from a disease or any other cause of pain. Then there is dormanasya, there's a lot of negativity, negative thoughts. And angamejayatva, so the whole body is debilitating. There's so much fatigue, and that's what's happening to all of us. A lot of us during the pandemic is there's a lot of negative thoughts. We just don't want to get out of the chair. Even people who have had COVID, who have not had COVID. And shwasa prashwasa, so the breath is also really, really disturbed. So this is one way the mind flows. And the other is the nirodha samskara, where instead of dukkha, there is sukha. There's peace, there's well-being. Instead of dormanasya, there's samanasya. There's a lot of positive thinking. Instead of angamejayatva, there's actually angasterium, which is a lot of resilience and strength in the body. And then he goes on to give solutions to these problems, to these negative thoughts, this flow of the mind that we are stuck with, negativity that you're talking about. And in one of the solutions that he's offering in Sutra 1.34 is Prachardana Vidharanabhyam Va Pranasya. So he's saying, work with the breath, learn to extend your exhale. So we take bath to cleanse ourselves every day. What about this vessel, the mind that holds all our thoughts, holds all the reactions to the world, holds all the residues of our reactions and interactions to the world? We also need to cleanse this vessel every day, which is our mind. And our breath acts as the tool between the body and the mind. There is no better tool than the breath, which can help us to cleanse the mind, calm the mind. And once we're able to access this deeper, quiet space, we can think with more clarity. We can take decisions with, instead of reacting to a situation, we could actually take a step back, pause, and think of what's the right step forward. So it's, like I mentioned earlier, it's always starts with the breath. And Patanjali has very beautifully explained that in the Yoga Sutras. Our breath is like our inner barometer. It will immediately tell us when there's something wrong. So if we can work with the breath, then perhaps we'll have some access to our thoughts, our reactions, and so forth. So that's the yogic perspective to how to go towards this Nirodha Samskara and not so much the Vyuttana Samskara.
So beautifully explained.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do now is to go point wise what you see on your screen. So we already spoke about, she also spoke about the need for detox, and that's the only way to do this is to include a lot of raw foods. Why raw foods? Because we digest raw foods very easily, very quickly. It takes only half an hour for fruits to digest. So it's also important when you include raw foods to remember when to include raw foods. So you eat raw foods preferably first thing in the morning. Fruits, when I say raw foods, you eat fruits first thing in the morning, and they take only half an hour for us to digest. So you can eat plenty local seasonal fruits. And you give half an hour gap between fruits and cooked food. Why half an hour gap? Because if you don't give that gap, you will have undigested food sitting on top of digested food, which will lead to acidity. So a lot of people who complain about acidity due to raw foods, this is the reason. When you take it, what is the gap between fruits and cooked food? And again, when it comes to raw vegetables, it's very good to include them along with your cooked food, because raw vegetables contain enzymes which will help you digest the cooked food. So it's very important to include fruits in the morning time, and then while eating your lunch and dinner, please include as much raw foods as possible. Almost 40% of your daily diet should consist of raw foods. The other important thing is probiotic. Now, this is such a in thing in health circles, and a lot of discussion about probiotics. I just want to give a very simple recipe that you can all follow. It's like a poor man's rich source for probiotic. We're all from South India here by and large, and rice is cooked on a daily basis. Even in North Indian homes, rice is cooked regularly. And take 1 heaped tablespoon of cooked rice and add about half a tablespoon of methi or fenugreek seeds, and leave it in a mud pot or a ceramic or a glass jar. Do not use a metal or a plastic container. Other containers are okay, but not a metal or a plastic. Mud, a clay vessel, or what is it called? Glass or a ceramic jar, they're okay. So because only that will aid the growth of probiotics. Um, Now you soak it in a glass of water and leave it overnight. And first thing in the morning, you drink up this water. This is super rich in good bacteria. Now, this is very, very important. And even for vegetarians and vegans who are said to be low in B12, this will, take care of that. It's a very simple thing. And this is not something new. This is a traditional recipe that's been followed in all villages. Traditionally in India, we have this old rice that is eaten first thing in the morning. Even today in Vedic schools, this is what is had as the first meal, the overnight rice soaked in water. This is very rich in good bacteria. Now, exercise, we've already spoken about yoga, the need for good breath control and, the right breathing habits. Um, Exercise also releases certain biochemical changes in the body, and this is very important to lead a stress-free life. People who are used to exercise, they will know this, that they get a high. I feel really high after my workout session. That's because of the release of certain hormones that actually help you to feel that happiness, that high feeling. So that is important. Meditation, to bring that calmness and to bring that oneness with yourself, is extremely important. And research shows that meditation actually improves physical health. It is actually quite tangible, to say that meditation actually helps physical health, and this is proven by a lot of research. Now, I have mentioned here about music and hobbies. While speaking about uh, yoga, Harshita mentioned how we all deviate towards food. Food gives us a lot of emotional satisfaction, right? So if we are going to, be drawn towards food, especially during the pandemic, I don't have to mention this, that a lot of people were overeating. Many people, there are a lot of jokes on social media that before pandemic and after pandemic, this is my size, and this is what I've been eating. Like a lot of people indulge in too much of overeating. Now, when you have the arts in your life, when you have arts as an integral part of your life, be it handwork, craft, music, an instrument, singing, all this can make you get that emotional satisfaction. And it's not just food that is going to give you satisfaction emotionally. Food does give us emotional satisfaction, which is important, but it should not be the sole source of your emotional happiness. So food should be more, like she said, we eat to live, not live to eat. So if we can, divert ourselves and bring in some passionate hobbies into our lifestyles, it will really make our life more rich, and it's more. It will bring in more quality to our life, which will in the course of time bring a change in the physical health. So you will see the effects of that in your physical health. It's not just an emotional aspect which is cut off. Our emotions and our physical body are together, they're not two different bodies. So we need to focus on such hobbies and certain lifestyle habits that can make it emotionally and physically healthy for us. um, Work that helps others. This is something that has proven to be health building. Physically, you actually, when you help someone, at the physical level, the changes that happen are very intangible, they're very subtle, but over a period of time, it definitely does show. And so, doing something that for others, it is something that I can't explain in words, and I can't make you understand in that way. Those who are involved in that will understand, and it is something that you can practice. Some small thing. It is not. You don't need to go into big charity or something. Just giving. During summer, just giving some buttermilk to your security guard, or to someone somewhere. You just go weekly once, do something, spending some time. So doing some work beyond your inner circumference, just going beyond that closed circle and to reach out to someone, that is also health building. Spending time with pets, children, and plants. All these are ways in which you can bring in that happiness factor in your life. And the whole idea behind all this is that happiness is central to our health, physical health. It's not just emotional health. Emotional health and physical health go hand in hand. And that is what I wanted to say today. And I hope this brought in some insights. Um,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you, Seetha Garu. I have a question. What if someone's immunity is already compromised? Then is there anything that they could do to improve
Yeah.
their well-being and immunity?
So when your immunity is compromised, it's all the more important at such times like this pandemic. You wear your mask, be extremely careful, practice social distancing. So there are a lot of theories that say, we can't go on protecting ourselves. But when your immunity is weak, it's very important to protect yourself. And it is very important to detox your body. That is number one. When your immunity is already compromised, it means there is a toxic built up in your body which is not helping the immune system to function in a normal way. So the first and foremost thing is to detox. When you say detox, it means you need to uh, eat light, eat more of raw fruits. You can go on a fruit diet. You can go on abstinence of food. Fasting is one of the best ways to detox, but here I'm not a medical person who's you know uh, having each individual's medical condition with me. So this is something to be done under the guidance of a medical practitioner or a nutritionist, a holistic nutritionist. So detoxing is very important when your immunity is compromised. Number two is to include certain herbs that are good depending on the constitution of your body. Each one's body is different, right? So each one is needs to be under the observation of a holistic nutritionist. Include certain herbs which will improve immunity, and definitely include probiotic food, as in what I mentioned in a simple way, the probiotic water that I mentioned, and also things like kimchi, kombucha. You have even the Indian pickles, provided they're made in the right way with the right ingredients. They are rich source of probiotic food. So these are very important to include in a good quantity when you're going to work on a compromised immune system, and definitely move your bodies. And another important way to improve your immunity is massage. This again is an age old, it's a traditional practice that we have a weekly abhyanga practice in Indian homes, traditional Indian homes. They have even days fixed for women, days fixed for men for a abhyanga in traditional families. But if you don't follow that, at least a weekly massage, at least fortnightly once massage will actually get your lymph nodes, all the blockages gone. And massage is a very good way to detoxify and to also build your immunity. I think these are some ways in which you can build, and definitely follow a good routine, a proper timetable. Once a week, breaking the timetable is okay, but to have a routine, this is the time to eat, this is the time to sleep, this is the time for my activity. These are things that need to be followed precisely every day. Only then a pattern will be set and the body works with the body intelligence intact. So when the timings are all in disarray, body intelligence, the body clock, biological clock cannot function. Yes.
Thank you, Seetha Garu. We will start the question answer session. If the participants would like to raise their hands or type their questions in the chat box, please feel free to. I think there's a question from Shruti Babu. Comorbid conditions like sugar, BP, how to work on immunity boosters? Please share what to do and what not to do.
Yes. I'm going to answer this with um, cautionary mark that this is not to be taken as a medical advice, but you need to consult a proper medical practitioner. However, when you have comorbidities, even regular practice of yoga, certain yogasanas actually reduce diabetes. I worked through Ananda Foundation, and very recently for the yoga day, we brought out certain videos. And one of the practitioners, yoga practitioners, has given her testimonial of how she comes from a family of diabetic people, both from her maternal and paternal side. And they were diabetic, and she herself was a diabetic. And how over the years she's overcome, she's not even on medication now. So healthy practices, healthy diet, and all what we have said, if you follow that, there is no specific thing. See, when we give remedies in a holistic way, it's like something that will help all the organs and everything. In modern medicine, we have this for pain and this for digestion and this for something. But if you see in more holistic medicines like Ayurveda, what is a decongestant is also a digestive. Ginger is a decongestant, it's also a digestive. It is, some a lot of times they say this will help headache, this you have to take for cold. So for me, it's the human body is a whole. So we need to look at it in that way and not as parts. So what is good for my head should also be good for my heart. It should also be good for my stomach. So I think whether you're diabetic or not, you follow these things, and this is what will help you. But obviously, when you consult a practitioner one-on-one, when you come for consultation, then we'll give you a specific, diet, include certain greens, remove certain red vegetables, things like that. We need to fine tune. But generally speaking, without meeting the person, it's very difficult to give specific diet advice. But whatever we've said over the course of this talk is good for diabetes as well. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Seetha Garu. We have another question from Vamsi Krishna. Uh, Kindly put light on a few immunity boosters we used during the pandemic, like raw turmeric, ginger, kada, etc. Could you throw some light on some of
Yeah.
these?
Yeah. Um, I think these are good. No doubt about these kadas that are good. But like I said, immunity does not happen overnight. You need to follow a lot of practices, including exercise. See, it is not just that I have these herbs every day and I'll become all. What we have to do it in a holistic way. Again, I'm mentioning this, but definitely ginger, betel leaf, tulsi, and um, cinnamon. These are all good herbs that can be included. What is this? Onion seeds, kalonji. Kalonji is a very good immunity booster, and and also how much of it you turmeric. Now when I say turmeric has to be had with a little bit of pepper if the body has to absorb the curcumin content in turmeric. And these are all herbs that should be used, and we use it on a daily basis. But what we do, we add a whole lot of oil, and then we put it on fire for a long time, and then we expect it to be healthy, and we say "Idi chala manchidandi, this is pepper is very good, I put a lot of pepper in my biryani, I put cloves in my biryani, cloves is very good, of course they're all good, but what is the combination in which you're using it?" So these herbs, they're important, yes, and they're very beneficial, but what is the quantity you use it with, and what is the combination in which you use it? So to have a little bit of the kada uh, in a preferably empty stomach or lighter stomach, that's when the body can absorb it. And one word of caution, when I say kada, a lot of people also have these green teas, green tea inclusion. Please do not have green tea in empty stomach. Green tea is an antioxidant. So if you have it in your empty stomach, can you imagine? There's nothing for it to work on. It will be counterproductive. So do not have green tea in empty stomach. So have something, but definitely including ginger water every day, even after a meal, is good for digestion. When your digestion is compromised, include more ginger. Ginger is so powerful. Pepper again is another very powerful herb, and they say in Siddha, there's a in Siddha form of school, in Siddha school of medicine, they say that if you have a handful of pepper with you, you can even go eat in your enemy's house. Enemy might try to poison you, so even that can, the pepper can protect you even from poison. That's what they say about pepper is so powerful. So to include pepper with turmeric, it's a very good combination. And these are ways in which you can include herbs for immunity.
Thank you, Seetha Garu. I just also wanted to add from, I'm not an Ayurvedic physician, but what I've understood is in Ayurveda for COVID specifically, they have very clearly said avoid foods that increase kapha in the body, which is having foods which are refrigerated and cold, having things like curd, buttermilk, that's a definite no. Also, not sleeping during the day. If you sleep during the day, the kapha in the body increases, so avoiding sleep in the day. And I see some very specific questions coming up about, your constitution being a certain type and heating your body. It's very important for you to go see your Ayurvedic physician in person or do an online consultation. So he can understand your constitution. Is it Vata, Pitta, Kapha? What is the predominant constitution? How to address it? I think it would be difficult because neither of us is an Ayurvedic physician, so we cannot directly answer your queries. I did see a hand raised. I think it was Rachna Golikar who had raised her hand. Could you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hello, ma'am. I'm Rachna, and yeah, thanks for addressing my hand raised. I had this question that many of the youth are craving for junk food nowadays, and that is very bad for your stomach or your senses that will be working because yeah,
Hello.
yeah. So I mean that is very bad for youth because as it's lockdown, we are being in home and just working for hours in front of our PCs, and in that we are having the junk food as our snack. So what could ma'am suggest apart from that to crave for healthy food apart from junk food, and that might be a more in a digestive way, which could be very healthier and which will not affect I mean the side effects should not be there because already there are so many side effects just sitting at one place and working for hours.
I know food has been in the past year and a half. I think so much of overeating and overeating the wrong foods has become so common. And you see the social media filled with posts of you know uh, instant dosa, instant this, and making food all the more unhealthy. And our body is a temple, and so what goes into this temple needs to be pure. Of course, it needs to give us food, needs to give us emotional satisfaction, but how much are you eating for your emotions? How much are you eating for your health? If you're just conscious of this, it'll bring a change in your diet. All of us are fond of food. I love meals. I love my meal times, and I get a lot of satisfaction by eating good food. I think it's very an intelligent person will eat more for nutrition than for my emotional satisfaction. An even more intelligent person, a truly wise person, will make sure that the healthy food which gives me nutrition is also tasty. Very simple. So if I'm intelligent, I will make sure that what is healthy is also tasty. So my whole purpose of writing my book was this: to make healthy food simple and to make it tasty. So if I can make this possible, that what is tasty is also healthy, it's a very simple solution. All it needs is a little conscious effort and consistency. 3 weeks, 21 days, your taste buds will change. So for the first 3 weeks, seek the help of your family journey towards healthy eating. Can you please help me? Am I audible? There was some disturbance.
Yes, you're audible. Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So it is important that for 21 days you stick to a healthy eating, and then you will start craving. I myself, people in the city who've seen me over the years know that I've been doing public speaking for quite some time, and I used to be an obese person. To start with, and then I over the years worked on my diet, worked on exercising, and it has definitely brought a change in my physical health and in my mental and emotional status. So this is something that you need to seek help from family members. We always think satsang is all about bhajans and all that. We need to have food satsangs. You need to have groups that are all consciously eating. So make friends who are into conscious eating. Have potlucks. Of course, now it is not possible, but you can have a virtual potluck. So what are you eating? So you have a whole community that is supporting you for eating right. And this whole thing, why junk food, what do we mean by junk food? The same pizza can be made in a healthier way. You can really look into it, and fortunately social media also has a lot of information on healthy cooking. You just have to search. There are a few sites which are very good. There are a few YouTube channels that are very good. And we can also create, like when I say we bring a community, 5 families or 6 families, and then each of you bring one recipe a week. So we have a collection of recipes that are healthy. So include a lot of raw foods in your diet. Now, how to make raw foods healthy and tasty? I mean, raw foods are healthy. How to make them tasty is to get a good salad dressing, which is not harmful. So you just add a little bit of a sweetener, you have a little bit of sour element, you have a little nutty, crunchy element in it, and then the cucumber and the capsicum, they become more tasty and they become more desirable to eat. So the whole idea is to make healthy food tasty. And this is something all of us have a responsibility to do, because we as adults are responsible for conditioning our children. So today for us, party means there should be deep fried. Party means there has to be, alcohol. This we have conditioned ourselves. So can we relearn this, and can we come out of these constriction, if I may say, this confined environment? Can we really think in an intelligent manner? Are we going to blindly follow some customs, or are we going to create something that's healthy? Actually, we don't need to create. It was handed down to us. We abandoned it and chose something. Like she said, there are 2 paths. One is full of pain and one is so sattvic. So we've abandoned all that. And we think that fun is only in doing the wrong things. There can be so much fun and laughter in a healthy party. In where you're having salads, you can always still laugh and joke, and it is not at all boring. You just need the right environment, you need consciousness, you need awareness and consistency. So include cucumbers, carrots. You use it with a hummus or a dip that's really tangy, that's really spicy. Doesn't matter, spice is not bad at all. It's just that coming together of all the tastes, I think it's important to focus on making healthy food tasty. Um, all of us have that responsibility to hand it over to our children, to create good habits from childhood.
Thank you, Seetha Garu. I see another hand raised. Malati Raj, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, good morning, and it's an excellent information we are getting. Seetha Garu, I just wanted to know, like foods like ginger, pepper, til and all produces a lot of heat in my body. Like I get a sty, or I get different reactions. So what do I do? Like what do I take to cool the body?
So, yeah, this is something again very subjective, and it depends on a whole lot of things. Suppose your detox, you know what, sometimes these boils on the skin, these are all a manifestation of toxins coming out. We should actually not suppress them. Loose motions, cold phlegm, these are all ways in which toxins are getting out of the body. So it's very important to understand that while including certain things, something that is toxic will be coming out, that could be manifesting as a skin problem, like a boil, or it could lead to loose stools. So that doesn't mean that the herb is bad. But again, like I said, I will not be able to say, come on, you continue with this, because I have not met you physically, and it is wrong to advise anything including diet without seeing a person and without understanding your other health conditions and your environment, your work, everything. Considering everything, only we can advise something. But to say that till is producing heat or something, it should not affect you. But there are always exceptions, and we need to consider each individual specially. But definitely this is disease is also a way to build immunity. Thank you for asking this question, because this is a point that I should have spoken about earlier. But nevertheless, every disease is not evil. Certain things are health building. There's something called salutogenesis. There is something that builds health by giving us discomfort. So a fever, what do you do when you want to clean water? When you want to clean water, you boil it, right? Yes, you boil water, germs die. So our body is actually boiling. Like when you have fever, it is one of the ways in which the body cleanses itself. It takes care of itself. Now, if I suppress the fever, what is causing the fever, I need to address, but I should not be suppressing the signs. These signs are telling me, please attend to me. But if it's like killing the messenger. They're giving you a message, and instead you're killing the messenger, then there's no one to alert you. So fevers, of course, I am again mentioning a caution. I'm not against allopathic medicine because it is sometimes life saving, but for sustained health, we need to abstain from this at the drop of a hat taking a crocin. Just loose motions, immediately suppress it. Vomiting, immediately suppress it. That's not the way to deal with health. Health is something that needs to be understood holistically. Why am I vomiting? Why am I getting this fever? What is causing this? Very recently, I got hit by a ball, a very hard ball, accidentally from behind, where they were not supposed to be doing the throwing. They did that and it hit me. And even now, my face is a kind of swollen. But this swelling, even when a mosquito bites you and you get that eruption, all that is your immune system working. I'm not supposed to suppress it. Yeah, if I were to, it was very painful for me. But what I did was I applied some external balm, and I tried to massage my fingers like acupressure points, and I was trying to calm myself. I put my phone off, delegated work. So these are things that you need to do, not just pop up a paracetamol. Pain, immediately paracetamol. That is something that has to be avoided. Likewise, when you get some skin eruptions, when you have a ginger or a till, that means there is something that is not happening in a balanced manner. And you first detox, and then we do this. So include a lot of raw fruits. Have one half of the day have only fruits. Give a gap and then have your cooked food. I think it's very important. Fruits are, for me, medicinal. Food is thy medicine. And for me, fruits rank foremost in that. Fruits have been cooked by nature. We don't need to cook it. Nature has already made it so ripe and ready. We just have to eat it. It's a big treasure of nutrition and all goodness. And all the seasonal fruits, no need to get Washington apples or New Zealand kiwis. Just local seasonal fruits are very nutritious. What you get in a pure form, preferably without chemicals in it. So those will improve your condition of getting these eruptions when you eat sesame or when you all that. So detox and then have this. Don't abandon healthy eating just because you get these spurts of problems.